First step is to get I had a 2x8 in this case, and I'm drawing the curve of the rim. You want something that can push on a large amount of rubber. I tried a 2x4 in the beginning and it didn't work. Didn't seem to, it just stretched one area but not the other ones. That little tool I was using there, that was to remove the valve stem core. That lets all the air out. If you don't let the air out, you can't break the bead. So I'm breaking the bead on opposite sides, inside, outside of the tire. That funny sound you're hearing in the background is my daughter using air tools. It's not my car. Here I'm taking out the valve stem and cutting it on the back and grab the front. And then it looks like I leave it in there, but I did take it out. That's not in the video. This soapy water is just a mix of some Dawn detergent and water. Helps things slide around. It's especially helpful with the tube. I use 2 crowbars. I think this works well. You can see I put one across, and then I actually like the longer one on top. And then I can pry against the bottom one, work my way. I'm guessing if you're left-handed, you want to go the other way. It's funny how it's actually pretty easy to get the tubeless tires off of the rim like this, but if you try to reverse these steps, do it exactly the same way, put the tubeless tire back on, it is hell, which is why I ended up not doing it that way. And thankfully I found an easier way. So I'm spraying down the inner tube. The inner tube was a little bit tricky to stretch in there, and I got the wrong kind. The good kind in my mind is the kind with nuts, so you can stick it through that hole and you can tighten the nut down. You don't have to worry about it coming out. But I got the really cheap kind. So far they're working, and it's not too bad. I can put a new one in if the cheap kind doesn't work. I think I'm going to get a clamp to hold on to the valve stem so it doesn't pull back in there. Well, at this point I'm just stretching. You can see I'll grab a little stick, kind of a smooth stick of wood that I'm spraying with some soapy water to pry and stretch that tube into place. The next step after that is just to make sure that the tube isn't twisted around or something inside there. So this is where it usually gets ugly. Not quite yet. At this beginning part, you can use a crowbar or two to start working the tubeless tire back onto the rim. And when I did the first tire, I was able to get a little more than halfway. And it's pretty easy to get a little more than halfway, but to get farther than a little more than halfway well, I couldn't do it. I was running into the steel that runs around that inner rim of the tubeless tire. It helps the bead stay in place. So anyway, what you should do, or what I did on the second tire, is I just got it close. I tried to get over 50% of the way around the tire, and then I decided that maybe my my shoehorn / lever could seat the rest of it. Let's see, I think I'm showing you all 3 of my tries. So this one I don't back up far enough. I think if I backed up a little farther, that might have just popped right on there, but I can't really see what I'm doing. And I'm trying to be careful. So here I'd go for it again, but not quite far enough. But I can't tell what's happening from the driver's seat. So now I go from the other side, and this time I drive back a little farther, and voila. So that was a whole lot easier than the time I had on my first tire. From here on out, it's just a matter of filling up the tube, and with the valve stems that don't have the nuts on them to keep them in place, I was a little worried that I'd push on this thing and I'd push it back inside the rim. I was also worried that I'd grab onto it and mess it up with my Leatherman, cut the neck of the valve stem. I would just want to put 20 psi in it, not much. As I think I've already mentioned, I've only done 2 tires like this, so I'm not sure it'll work on every tire, but I don't see why it shouldn't, and I think it's worth a try. From what I've seen, a lot of people have struggled mightily with getting tubeless tires back on rims. So I hope this helps you. Thanks.